hopefully the second part will have a bit more spots where we can enjoy some big hands and decisions. Alrighty, part 2 of the 10NL 2 6 max video. Hopefully, as I said earlier, we can get in some spots where I'll just like to think a lot about their range. I'm sort of used to playing ABC poker. I want to start putting them on a hand and hopefully, value betting with second pair against their draws or something like that. That's really where I want to start to work on my game, instead of just top pair, top kicker, potting it to the river and shove and stuff like that. I'm going to automatically put this player on a pocket pair or a very weak connector hand or something like that. It's inevitable that these players are going to open limp with weak hands, and that's a terrible card. So it's hard for me to call here. I'm getting nearly 3-1. Obviously I need a 6 or the board to pair. I don't think a call here is he could easily have a 10 or 2 pair. If I call, then he's going to bet a fair amount on the river. So I think I'll have to fold, because I think a 10 or a 5 is in his range in open limping. So we'll let him have that one. I think my flop bet was fine. I just think that I think I bet 70 into 90 or something. We'll just see. And I raised obviously because I'm out of position. I'll just go back. Yeah, 70 into 90, so I don't see a problem with that. It's just a bad card on the turn, and obviously him leading out. It's hard for me to play when I can put a hand that he has a 5 or a 10, like a Jack 10 or a 5, 6 or pocket 5s or Ace 10 that he's open limping with. Four 6 is like a really good hand that I like to play. It's easy to get away from in most cases, and it's easy to disguise, especially when you're raising under the gun or under the gun +1. And a lot of the time an ace hits and people just think you've hit your ace. So please let me know what you think about the pocket 6s there. I think I played the hand right. It's one of those things really on the turn there. I could have bet 90 cents or $1 on the flop, but I don't know if that's what I should have done or not. For everyone wondering, I've got a lot of comments and messages. The HUD that you see underneath each name is Poker Tracker HUD. It's purchasable from pokertracker.com or Google Poker Tracker. It's very useful. Micro stakes people don't necessarily need it, but I think they have a micro edition now, so it's pretty affordable if you're playing a lot of hands and got a pretty good win rate. It will help your game. Not a necessity, but it will definitely help. The only issue I have with it is for a lot of the new players become really results oriented, and they'll base each session on the graph in Poker Tracker, and if they lose they'll tilt, or they'll I think they, it's not good in that sense, but in a way, I think if you know how to handle it, it's very profitable. So obviously, I'm calling a min raise here in the small blind against this player. He's playing all sorts of different ways, from open limping to min raising under the gun +1, and it's just insane. So we'll try and pick on him a bit. Obviously just flat calling. I mean, I think personally, if I hit a 10 or a diamond or a jack or a 6, I'm ahead here. So that's brutal. Have to bet to win. He led out on the turn into us. I think he'll call with a jack anyway. I think he's got a weak jack now. Obviously I'm just gonna give that up. We'll just check it there. I mean, he could have king jack, but I can't call with that hand, so another one to Fagola. Obviously gonna raise it with the ace-2. Got a couple of tight players. I mean, they're not overly tight, but this player likes to raise me a lot on both tables. We'll let him keep doing that, because one day we'll wake up with a good hand and, you know, smooth call or shove over the top. So I'm gonna have to tighten up now, actually, against Happy Frost on both tables. So as I said, I'd sometimes raise with that hand, sometimes I wouldn't. Just depends. So a couple of tricky hands. I think running well, it's just the cards don't seem to like my sets. Hitting sets a lot. I haven't hit sets for a while, but now that I hit them, it's just not happening. I mean, the cards are there, but for the set, but the turn and the river just aren't helping at all. So about a minute to go for part 2 of the 10NL Micro Machine video. Hope you're enjoying it so far. As I said, I know it's been a while, but I'll start making them more frequently now that the Christmas break's over. This player just seems to float around a bit on the button. I'd be surprised if we win this. I mean, what's he limping with? A weak ace? Unbelievable. We can make a note that he'll snap check. The flop turn plus river with absolute air. I'll just see what they had. 7-8 suited, okay. Oops. One button. I'm gonna. He's our little tight player, so we'll just call here. So I think a raise, a lot of the time I'll be re-raised, or I think more than not I'll be re-raised than just flat called. I mean, that's a standard C bet. I think, personally, I think this player would bet more with an ace. I'm going to probably call fold the turn. Although I have tried to tell myself lately to just raise when you think you're ahead, rather than calling. So I'm gonna go with my instincts here. Yeah, I just feel like 40 cents, a lot of the time, like I've played these limits for only a couple of weeks, but